and the latest report by the Education and Child Rights NGO Challenging Heights reveal what it describes as a deteriorating fee-paying situation in most public basic schools in Ghana. The organization said it interviewed heads of basic schools in 5 out of 16 regions and in 25 districts within those selected regions. The results showed that children in public basic schools were being forced to pay levies to cover desks, teachers' motivation, admission fees, printing fees, PTA dues, development levy, and ICT, among others. Challenging Heights is calling on government to urgently settle the over 300 million capitation grant in arrears across the country. Richard Kochinyako reports.
The capitation grant was introduced in the 2003-2004 academic year to offer free, compulsory, universal basic education for all school-going children of Ghana in fulfillment of Article 25(1)(a) of Ghana's 1992 Constitution, which states that basic education shall be free, compulsory, and available to all. The capitation grant scheme was therefore introduced to replace all fees paid by parents in public basic schools in order to expand access and to support school performance improvement effort by the schools. In this regard, government paid all the fees which were supposed to have been paid by the children in public basic schools. CEO of Challenging Heights, James Kofi Annan, says while commending government for increasing the capitation grant from 4 cedis 50 pesos to 10 cedis per child per term, they believe that the delays in the release of the funds diminishes the intended impact of the grants.
Challenging Heights report interviewed heads of basic schools in 5 out of the 16 regions in Ghana and in 25 districts within those selected regions. The results showed that children in public basic schools are being forced to pay levies to cover desk, teachers' motivation, admission fees, printing fees, PTA dues, development levy, ICT fees, even when there are no electricity or computers in those schools. Specifically, the results revealed that at the preschool level, some parents are paying minimum 459.5 pesos. That's 459 cedis, 50 pesos, and a maximum of 1,000 Ghana cedis per academic year. The JSS level analysis revealed that parents could be paying a minimum of 330 Ghana cedis and a maximum of 2,000 Ghana cedis per academic year. It is
James Kofi Annan is thus calling on government to pay the capitation fees for the heads of the basic schools to run the schools effectively.
It is understandable that when the heads of these basic schools are in financial distress, the only immediate remedy is to fall on the parents of the children to bail them out of the situation. Hence, the charging of these hidden and unapproved fees in those basic schools. This completely defeats the original intentions for the introduction of the capitation grant, and we therefore call on government to immediately clear all arrears, all basic schools, to enable the schools operate efficiently, even as government takes steps to review some of its policies. We support B-STEM education in principle. And Challenging Heights, we are for B-STEM. However, the free, compulsory, universal basic education is already suffering financially. There is therefore no guarantee that the far more financially demanding B-STEM education can be sustained under our present circumstances.
The organization is also asking government to suspend the introduction of the B-STEM education. They say even though they support the B-STEM education in principle, the free compulsory basic education is already suffering financially. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako, Cape Coast.
Let's do some more on this. Let's speak to the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clemente Park. Quite a disturbing revelation there. Has this come to your attention at the committee level?
Well, first of all, let me say good evening, and to say good evening to viewers. As a committee, this has not come to our attention. But as the minority side of the committee, we have raised this issue of the arrears in terms of the capitation grant. We have made the case that the inability or refusal of government to do the needful as required by law, which is to ensure that the basic schools get their capitation grants so that effective teaching and learning can go on, is a call that we have made time without number. So this does not come to a surprise to me or the members of the minority on the Education Committee. As we speak, schools are going to be going on vacation on the 7th of next month. Not only have they not received the capitation grant, many of the heads of the basic schools, as a result, have had to borrow and sometimes take loans to procure things as basic as chalk, registers, to undertake minor maintenance. So the situation as has been captured by, I believe, basic heights, clearly is a revelation that all is not well as far as basic education in the country is concerned. And that should be of worry to every Ghanaian and every Ghanaian parent.
Dr. Park, since you're very much aware of the issues at the basic level, which has been raised in this report, I'm wondering if you have any response from the ministry or its agency, the Ghana Education Service, on this.
Well, we have filed questions. I have authored a number of articles on the challenges facing our educational system, including basic schools. In fact, I raised the issue that the government owed 4 tranches of capitation grant. I raised the issue of the continual lack of textbooks for our basic schools 3 years after the introduction of the new curriculum. We raised issues around the fact that there are many basic schools that don't have KGs. There are many primary schools that don't have junior high schools, and a lot of others. But I think what is more revealing, as the report captures, is the fact that it is now even more expensive for parents to get their awards through basic school compared to senior high school.
Dr. Park, can you hold the line for me? James Kofi Annan, who is president of Challenging Heights, joins us via Zoom with some more on this. And Dr. Park, I return to you on what we can expect from the committee on this going forward. But Mr. Annan, you conducted this research. Give us some more detail in terms of the regions and the districts you visited and how worse the situation is.
Thank you very much, and my greetings to your viewers. So Challenging Heights basically sought to know how the capitation grant is impacting on school children in our public schools. And this is based off of research that was previously done by another organization. So we set out to, we selected 5 regions out of the 16 regions.
Okay. And
the regions were Bono East, Central Region, Eastern Region, Greater Accra Region, Volta Region. Then out of each of the regions that we selected, we went ahead to select 5 districts from each. And those districts that we selected were Ablekuma South, Ablekuma West, Adan East, Adan West, Akati South, Akim East, Akim West, Akebuwa Mountain, Brim Central, Brim South, Central Town, Efutu, Ekumfi, Gomoa East, Gomoa West, Ketu North, Ningo Pram, North Town.
So 25 East. In all, 25
yes,
districts.
So 25 in all. Now, what we wanted to find out was whether or not the capitation grant was still working, and that the main goal of this policy was being achieved. And what are the main goals? That children whose parents could not afford to pay fees will go to school without paying anything, without paying any fees.
Yeah.
Now, we were shocked to realize that in a lot of the schools that we went to, the children were paying more than some of the private schools in the neighborhoods.
And more importantly, did your research find that as a result of the fee-paying system that exists, admissions have been affected in the schools? Enrollment, for instance, had been affected as a result? Did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. You know, one of the items that we did not include in the research was to find if enrollment had been affected. But as a consequence of the report, the research, we realized that almost all the headmasters and headmistresses were telling us that whenever the children came to school and they asked for money and they could not provide, they went home and never returned. So that indicated to us that then there's a school dropout. We have a situation on our hands where we have school dropout as a result of the failing of the capitation grant.
Very well.
That then spoke volumes because, you know, we are having increases in child labor situation and child trafficking situation in the last few years.
Yeah.
And we conclude that it may be as a consequence of the failings of the capitation grant. Because children are being asked to buy their own desk. They are being asked to pay admission fees, pay something for examination fees, to the extent that some of the children are being asked to sort of bring items that even in the private schools they were not being asked to bring, including
Mr. Anand, we'll have to leave it here because of time, but I'm grateful that you could join us. Dr. Park is with us on the line. Doc, should we expect you to haul before the committee or the House, the Education Ministry, to respond to these issues?
Well, yes, we have been making attempts to get the minister to come to Parliament and address us on the myriad of challenges debilitating effective teaching and learning, generally, from kindergarten all the way to the university. And in fact, this is yet another reason why that call is justified. I would like to see the full report by Challenging Heights, I believe that is the name of the institution. But what I can say is that it is now becoming clear that the over-concentration and focus on the secondary school level is leading to a neglect with regards to what we need to provide to ensure that effective teaching and learning goes on at the basic level. And what is even more frightening, given the narration by the CEO of the organization, is that parents are having to expend more money to get the awards through basic school.
Mr. Park, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much for joining us. That's the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clemente Park. Then let me say that we did reach out to the Education Ministry for some response on this. We do not have it. They've indicated that this has been forwarded to GES to respond to it, and once they're ready, they'll bring us their response.